Hi students, this is Ram Mohan, JL in History, Government Junior College, Kachigoda. In our previous class, we have discussed non-cooperation movement. In this, the constructive programs and boycott programs also we completed. The course of the movement also we learned. Now moving to the importance of non-cooperation movement. Okay, the importance of non-cooperation movement. Non-cooperation movement lasted for 2 years, 1920 to 1922. So, because of Chauri Chaura incident, Gandhiji called off the non-cooperation movement. So, what is the importance of this movement? It was a people's movement. We can say it was a wide people's movement because a large mass population participated in this movement. That's what it was, a widespread movement. People from all sections of the society participated. All sections. Okay. Literate, illiterate, rich, poor. Okay. Different communities, teachers, lawyers, farmers, all sections of the people participated. And especially awareness was spread among the people, among all sections of the people. A great awareness we can see here. And they understood the importance of raising a voice against the untouchability, prohibition of liquor, and they understood here the importance, the friendship between the Hindus and Muslims. And later it encouraged the production of khadi cloth also, because the boycott of foreign goods, foreign cloth here increased here the production of khadi cloth. They understood here the importance of the khadi cloth also. So these are the important points of importance of non-cooperation movement. Now moving to the, okay, now understood what is Swaraj Party. Here the non-cooperation movement, okay, which was started by Mahatma Gandhi in 1920 and called off in 1922. So when non-cooperation movement was in a big way, immediately or after the a brutal incident in Chauri Chaura, Mahatma Gandhi called off. Because of this movement called off by Mahatma Gandhi, here Chittaranjan Das, some like Chittaranjan Das, other leaders also, they against the Mahatma Gandhi's call. They showed here discontentment with Mahatma Gandhi, because when it was started a great event, non-cooperation movement, Gandhiji called off. It was not appreciated by the leaders of like Chittaranjan Das and other extremists. They proposed here, they wanted elections to enter the legislature to obstruct the British government. So when non-cooperation movement was stopped by Mahatma Gandhi, it was not appreciated by some leaders like Chittaranjan Das. So Deshbandhu Chittaranjan Das, who argued that staying away from legislature invariably harmed the interest of the nation. So that means what? He wanted to conduct the elections. He wanted elections. He wanted to participate in the elections. He wanted to win in the elections. He wanted to place in legislature. Then only our desires, our goals should be fulfilled. That is his intention of Swaraj Party. That's what Deshabandhu Chittaranjan Das, he started a party that is in the name of Swaraj. Here you see the ones who wanted to enter the legislature, they were known as pro-changers. They were known as pro-changers, means here they wanted to enter the legislature. Here Motilal Nehru, Vittalbhai Patel, Srinivas Iyengar. These are the few people who are called here pro-changers. However, Rajendra Prasad, Babu Rajendra Prasad and Vallabhai Patel, Raja Gopalachari, Ansari, these people are no changers. Means they opposed the decision of pro-changers. Hence, in the annual session of Congress in 1922 at Gaya, the resolution was dropped. Although in December 22, same year 1922, 31st December, Chittaranjan Das formed Congress Khilafat Party. Congress Khilafat Swaraj Party. It was a branch of Congress. Understood here? It was a branch of Indian National Congress. So, Chittaranjan Das started a new party, founded a new party, that is Congress Khilafat Swaraj Party. It was a branch of the Congress, that is the Swaraj Party. Thus, President Motilal Nehru as the secretary. When they established here a party, Swaraj Party. So, Chittaranjan Das, who was the founder of Swaraj Party, elected as the president of this party, and Motilal Nehru as the secretary. In November 1923 election, Swarajist, means the Swaraj Party members here, won in 42 constituencies out of 101. Okay, out of 101 constituencies, 42 constituencies Swarajist won. So they entered Central Legislative Assembly. Okay, and they defeated, of course, the British proposals in the legislatures. In 1925, Vallabhbhai Patel of Swaraj Party was elected as the president of Central Legislative Assembly. So whatever decision had been taken by the Chittaranjan Das and Swarajist here, immediately elections came here. They contested elections. They won the majority seats out of 101. 42 seats they elected, and they entered Central Legislative Assembly, and they raised their voice against the British policies. In 1925, Chittaranjan Das, the founder of Swaraj Party, when he was passed away, with him only the Swaraj Party also disintegrated. So, you understand here, Swaraj Party also had a great chapter in Indian history, in the Indian freedom struggle. So, 1922-25, in 3 years, you see, participated, they raised a voice against the British policies, inside Legislative Assembly. So, National Congress, other hand, they did not want here to enter the Legislative Assembly. They boycotted the elections, they boycotted the Assembly, they boycotted all foreign institutions. That's what they completely, avoid here elections. But Swaraj Party, with the establishment of a new party, they participated, they won seats here, and they entered the Central Legislative Assembly. So anyhow, finally, when Chittaranjan Das, the founder of Swaraj Party, was passed away, with this, the Swaraj Party also disintegrated. Now, moving to the another topic, that is the Simon Commission. Okay, Simon Commission was a 7-member commission. What is the importance of this commission? Why it was came to India, or why this commission was started or established by the British people? Because to examine the implementation of 1919 Reform Acts. What are Reform Acts of 1919? That is Montagne-Chelmsford reforms. So, to examine the implementation of Reform Acts of 1919, in 1927, the British government here appointed, Simon as its leader of the commission, total 7-member commission. So, when British government appointed here 7-member committee, Simon as its leader, it was named after the Simon. So, that is called Simon Commission. Among 7 members, you see, there was no Indian representative. No single Indian. So that the people of India boycotted Simon Commission. In all areas, when Simon Commission wanted to reach India, in every corner, in every area, the people shouted like anything, Simon, go back. They called here, it was a white commission, because no Indian member, Indian member was not included. So that it was called as a white commission, and immediately they raised voice here, it was Simon, go back. They exhibited, displayed here the placards of Simon, go back. Acts were demonstrated. The government resorted to repressive measures. They wanted to take repressive measures to stop this agitation. So during this one, Jawaharlal Nehru participated. Lala Lajpat Rai, the extremist, also participated in this during the Simon Commission visit. So Lala Lajpat Rai, during the Lahore procession, he was severely wounded, okay, and died on 17th November in 1928 because of the lathi charge taken place in Lahore. The Sanders, who was the responsible for the death of Lala Lajpat Rai, and later Bhagat Singh, Rajgur, these two people killed here Sanders, who ordered the lathi charge at Lahore agitation. Okay, so because of this, immediately these two people, revolutionaries here, killed Sanders. And in Andhra Pradesh also, you see in Telugu soil, the Tanguturu Prakasham. Here he organized here Simon boycott movement in Madras area. So he was known as Andhra Kesari because he he challenged a police officer, okay, to fire against of him, so that he was named as a Tanguturi and Andhra Kesari. The Tanguturi Prakasham Pantulu named as here Andhra Kesari because since he challenged a police officer. Okay, so Simon Commission. So which commission consists of here 7 members in each and every area. Okay, in each and every corner. Okay, the people shouted and they raised voice against the Simon go back because of it was a completely white commission. Now, after this agitation and movement, Mahatma Gandhi later started a great movement, that is a civil disobedience movement. Remember, civil disobedience movement in 1929, the Lahore session of Congress under the presidency of Jawaharlal Nehru passed a resolution and they demanded complete independence, Purna Swaraj. So they declared here, okay, the Purna Swaraj. So celebrate here January 26 as the Independent Day also. Finally, they resolved to launch a civil disobedience movement. Gandhiji prepared a memorandum with 11 demands. Okay, Gandhiji prepared a memorandum with 11 demands and submitted Viceroy Irwin. Some of the demands were to the abolish salt tax, reduce the expenditure of the army. Okay, later, so when a resolution sent to the Irwin, there was no great response from the Viceroy Irwin. Mahatma Gandhi started historical Dandi march by walking from Ahmedabad to Dandi. Okay, from Ahmedabad, from Sabarmati Ashram, okay, near Sarayu River in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. From Ahmedabad to Dandi, he started a historical march. After reaching Dandi, Gandhiji broke the salt law. He made salt and he broke the salt law. It came to be known as civil disobedience movement. So what are the laws, what are the rules are implemented or framed by the British government? We don't want to follow. We don't want to pay the taxes, revenue, whatever the policies are implemented by the British government, completely avoid here. Gandhiji gave a call, and on May 1933, he started a 21st day fast, of self-purification in order to help Harijan movement, because the untouchability is a great social evil during this period. That's what, to against the untouchability also, during the civil disobedience movement, he started a 21st fast of self-purification in order to help Harijans. So this is called Salt Satyagraha or Dandi March. Both are same. In exam they ask like this: what is the importance of Salt Satyagraha? Okay, and civil disobedience movement. Civil disobedience movement, Salt Satyagraha or Dandi March, all are same. The Salt Satyagraha or Dandi March began on March 12, 1930. In 1929, they passed a resolution, that is the Purna Swaraj. Immediately in 1930, March 12, civil disobedience movement was started. So it was had great importance, in part of Indian independence movement, that is civil disobedience movement. So here, Women, not only men here, women also, when Gandhiji gave a call, civil disobedience movement, when he broke the salt law, women also, okay, participated in large way. They were arrested in Delhi also. Vijayalakshmi Pandit, Swarupa Rani, okay, Kamala Nehru, Sarojini Naidu, all important women also took part in this civil disobedience movement. Especially in northwest frontier province, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, popularly known as Frontier Gandhi, okay, he's made a red shirts army that is called Kudai Khidmat Guards. Kudai Khidmat Guards, servants of God, okay, in the name of Kudai Khidmat Guards, they wore a red shirts. He made a army also, that is the red shirts army in northwest frontier. So Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, popularly known as Frontier Gandhi, okay, who was Frontier Gandhi here? That is Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. So in civil disobedience movement, he also participated in northwest frontier area. Right. Now moving to the Gandhi-Irwin Pact. Now see, when civil disobedience movement was in a great way, it was going in a large way. The people participation, mass movement, it was a mass movement. All sections of the people, like non-cooperation movement, all sections of the people participated in a great way. So when Gandhi, okay, was arrested during this movement, though not only Gandhi, many leaders arrested, sent to jail. The important leaders, eminent leaders also arrested, but even though the people did not stop here their agitation, their movement. So when Gandhi released from the jail in January 1931, the Viceroy Irwin invited for talks. It was the first time a Congress leader was invited for a talk. Okay, it was the first time a Congress leader was invited for a talk. The talks began on February, okay, and ended on 5th March 1931. So first, okay, the talks began on February and ended on 5th March 1931. Here, Gandhiji agreed. What, okay, provisions are there? Now you understand. Gandhiji agreed to stop the civil disobedience movement, and Gandhiji agreed to participate in the round table conference, okay, to be held in London. The government agreed to release the Congress leaders, volunteers from the jails. Congress, not only this one, government also agreed to allow people living near coastal areas to prepare salt for personal use without paying any tax. Remember here, because of salt tax only, the civil disobedience movement or salt satyagraha started. That's what this provision also included in that. So government agreed here, the people who are near, very near to the coastal areas, they can prepare salt for personal use without paying any tax. Next one, the absence of any reference or mention of Swaraj. Okay, there was no mention of Swaraj. Gandhi agreed for that. But when the Swaraj or Purna Swaraj or complete independence was, okay, not included, not referred here, so that it was criticized by Jawaharlal Nehru and later Subhash Chandra Bose also. So when Gandhi-Irwin Pact was taken place, when Gandhiji agreed to stop the disobedience movement, without the word Swaraj, that's what it was, okay, opposed and criticized by Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose also. Round table conference. Gandhiji agreed here to participate in round table conference to be held in London. So the British decided to implement constitutional reforms for, okay, because already in 1919 they framed here Montague-Chelmsford, okay, reforms. They wanted to implement the constitutional reforms here. Here, British Prime Minister Ramsay MacDonald invited Indian representatives to England during this round table conferences. The round table conference held from November 1930 to January 1930, which was attended by representatives and native rulers, political parties, except National Congress. Okay, in first round table conference, there was no representative from INC. Remember, there was no talks from between the Mahatma Gandhi and Irwin. After the first roundtable conference only Mahatma Gandhi agreed to attend and participate the roundtable conference. This is what you remember here. There was no participation from National Congress during the first roundtable conference. So, due to the absence of the Mahatma Gandhi or National Congress, the conference was completely a failure. Second roundtable conference began in September 1931, ended in December. September 1931 to December 1931. Here Gandhiji was the representative of the Congress. Okay, because of Gandhi-Irwin Pact, Gandhiji agreed here. Later he attended the London Roundtable Conference. That is second Roundtable Conference, not first. That is second Roundtable Conference only. Along with Sarojini Naidu, he attended second Roundtable Conference. Okay. So, when Gandhiji attended here, when Gandhiji demanded here, when he passed a resolution, what a resolution passed by the INC here, he demanded it. So, this second resolution or the second roundtable conference completely failed because Gandhiji attended, but there was no great promise from the British government. After that, they conducted third roundtable conference in 1932. It was completely boycotted by the Congress because there was no great progress in second roundtable conference. That's what Congress, the INC, completely boycotted the third roundtable conferences. So, subsequently, the British government released a white paper in 1933 with proposal for constitutional reforms. Okay, they wanted to implement here constitutional reforms in 1933. So, after three roundtable conferences, they started to implement here different reforms here. In the name of Government of India Act 1935, in this, to provide autonomy to the provinces, one. Second one, to provide limited responsibility to the Indians in the central level, to create a federation, to establish a federal court. These are the important provisions in the Government of India Act 1935. Provide autonomy to the provinces, limited responsibility to the Indians at the central level, create a federation, establish a federal court. These are the four important provisions. The Act also established a central government on the lines of diarchy. Created the provinces as per the 1919 Act. It comprised elected members. Number of voters increased by the 10%. The legislature comprised a council of states with 260 members and federal assembly with 375 members. The federal assembly did not come into force as the rulers of the native states declined to join it. The act separated, of course, Burma from India. These are the important. In 1935, Burma also separated from India because of this act. Here, central government and provincial government, two governments we can see. The act established here, of course, dual government policy. Governors appointed ministers from the majority group in the legislature. These ministers held charges of transferred subjects and were responsible to the legislature alone. The act abolished here afterwards the dual government policy, the diarchy system, and what the provinces, central level, there was no great powers to the Indian leaders, only limited powers were given. So, the appointed ministers only from the majority group. So, already when Muslim League was established here, already the all Governor General from 1906 to 1933, all Governor General promises here, communal provinces also. They separated electorals for Muslims. That's what here in provincial government here, the majority, government appointed a minister from the majority group in the legislature. So, the transferred subjects, which are the transferred subjects are there, these people held or in charge of these subjects only. These are the responsible for legislature alone. So, 1935 Indian Independence Act was a great, act because of the result of round table conference. The three round table conferences, only second round table conference attended by the INC. Remember, remaining two was boycotted or not participated. There was no participation. So far in this class, we have discussed here the importance of non-cooperation movement. Later, Swaraj Party, which was established by Chittaranjan Das, Deshabandhu Chittaranjan Das. After that, civil disobedience movement. It was a great movement of Mahatma Gandhi. After non-cooperation movement, Gandhiji started in 1930. That was civil disobedience movement. We can call Salt Satyagraha or Dand March, which was started in March 12, 1930. In this movement also, many laws, the British government, what laws are passed here, completely boycotted, completely, disobeyed by the Indian citizens. So that we can call that is Salt Satyagraha or Dandi March, because Mahatma Gandhi started the march, the great march from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi. So that we can call this is Dandi March also. Later, Gandhi-Irwin talks, after civil disobedience movement, when it was going on, a great, agitation, great movement, Irwin called here Mahatma Gandhi, released here from the jail and invited for talks. That is Gandhi-Irwin talks taken place in 1931. With this, the result is round table conferences. You understand here? The three round table conference. With this 1935 Indian independence, the Indian Act also implemented. First time in India, the provincial government also given lot of importance and large participation of the Indians also taken place during this season.